First contact. A lone human scientist makes an unexpected discovery. Dr. Samantha Chen squinted at the readout on her monitor, the blue glow illuminating her face in the dimly lit observatory. For the past 6 months, she had been tracking an anomaly at the edge of our solar system, a gravitational disturbance that defied explanation. Tonight, something had changed. "This can't be right," she muttered, fingers flying across the keyboard as she double-checked her calculations. The anomaly was moving, accelerating towards Earth at an impossible speed. Samantha's heart raced as the implications sank in. This was no natural phenomenon, it was a ship. As if on cue, her secure line buzzed. "Dr. Chen," a gruff voice said without preamble, "I assume you're seeing this." "General Harris," Samantha replied, recognizing the voice of her military liaison. "Yes, I'm tracking it now. It's incredible. The energy readings are off the charts. Whatever this is, it's not from around here. I'm calling an emergency meeting. Be at the Pentagon in 3 hours. And Dr. Chen, not a word of this to anyone." The line went dead, leaving Samantha alone with her thoughts and the ominous blip on her screen. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. After years of searching the stars, first contact was finally happening, and somehow she was at the center of it all. 3 hours later, Samantha found herself in a windowless room deep within the Pentagon, surrounded by grim-faced military brass and government officials. General Harris stood at the head of the table, his weathered face etched with concern. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "as of 200 hours this morning, we confirmed the presence of an extraterrestrial craft entering our solar system. Dr. Chen, if you would." Samantha stood, suddenly aware of all eyes on her. She cleared her throat and began to explain her findings, her initial nervousness giving way to the excitement of scientific discovery. "The craft is unlike anything we've ever seen," she concluded. "Its method of propulsion, its energy signature, it's centuries beyond our current technology, and it's heading straight for Earth." A murmur rippled through the room. "Do we have any way to communicate with them?" asked a woman Samantha didn't recognize. "We've been broadcasting on all frequencies," General Harris replied. "So far, no response." "And if they're hostile?" This from a square-jawed man in an expensive suit. The general's face hardened. "We've alerted our defense systems, but frankly, if they can cross interstellar space, our weapons may not be much use." Samantha felt a chill run down her spine. This was the moment humanity had long dreamed of and feared. First contact. Would it herald a new age of enlightenment and cooperation, or spell doom for their species? As the meeting devolved into heated arguments about military responses and public announcements, Samantha's mind wandered. She thought of all the nights she'd spent stargazing as a child, wondering if anyone out there was looking back. Now she knew the answer, and it terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. A commotion at the door snapped her back to attention. A young aide burst in, face flushed with excitement or fear. Samantha couldn't tell which. "Sir," he gasped, addressing General Harris, "the ship, it's changed course. It's heading for the moon." The room erupted into chaos. Amidst the shouting and frantic phone calls, Samantha felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to find General Harris standing beside her, his eyes grave. "Dr. Chen," he said quietly, "I need you to come with me, now." Before she could respond, he was leading her out of the room and down a labyrinth of corridors. They emerged in a small, high-tech command center where a team of operators sat before a wall of screens. "What's going on?" Samantha asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her apprehension. General Harris pointed to the main screen, where a pulsing dot represented the alien craft. "It's slowing down, entering lunar orbit. We think they're going to land." Samantha's mind reeled. Land? On the moon? But why? "That's what we need to find out," the general replied. "And that's why you're here. We're assembling a team, a mix of scientists and special forces. You'll be joining the first human expedition to make contact." Samantha stared at him, speechless. This morning, she had been alone in her observatory, tracking a distant anomaly. Now, she was being told she would be among the first humans to set foot on an alien spacecraft. "When do we leave?" she asked, surprising herself with the steadiness of her voice. "You have 1 hour to prepare," General Harris said. "Pack light." And Dr. Chen, "The fate of humanity may well rest on what happens next. Are you ready for that responsibility?" Samantha looked at the screen, at the alien ship now nestled on the lunar surface. She thought of all the scientists throughout history who had dreamed of this moment, of the countless stories of first contact she had read as a child. Now, it was her turn to write the next chapter in humanity's greatest adventure. "I'm ready," she said, a spark of determination igniting in her chest. "Let's make history." The next hour passed in a blur of briefings, medical checks, and hasty goodbyes to confused colleagues. Before she knew it, Samantha found herself strapped into a seat aboard a sleek, experimental spacecraft, her heart pounding as the engines roared to life. As they broke free of Earth's atmosphere, Samantha gazed out the window at her home planet, a beautiful blue marble suspended in the void. She thought of all the people down there, going about their lives, unaware that at this very moment, the course of human history was about to change forever. Beside her sat Major David Reeves, a square-jawed Special Forces operative who looked like he'd stepped out of a recruitment poster. His presence was a stark reminder of the potential danger of their mission. "First time in space, Doc?" he asked, noticing her white-knuckled grip on the armrests. Samantha managed a weak smile. "Is it that obvious?" David's face softened. "Don't worry. The first time's always the worst. It gets easier." As they approached the moon, tension filled the cabin. Through the viewscreen, they could see it, a massive, silvery structure that put every human spacecraft to shame. Its surface seemed to ripple and shift, as if it were alive. "My God," Samantha breathed. "It's beautiful." Their own craft touched down a safe distance from the alien ship. As they donned their spacesuits, Samantha's hands trembled slightly. This was it, the moment every scientist dreamed of but few dared to hope for. They stepped out onto the lunar surface, the Earth hanging like a jewel in the black sky above them. Samantha felt a surge of emotion, awe, fear, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. As they approached the alien craft, its surface began to shimmer. A seam appeared, widening into an entrance. Samantha and David exchanged glances, no turning back now. They stepped inside, and Samantha gasped. The interior was a maze of pulsing, organic-looking corridors. It was like being inside a living organism. Suddenly, a figure appeared before them, tall, slender, with iridescent skin and large, dark eyes. It raised a hand in what seemed to be a gesture of peace. Samantha's heart raced. This was it, first contact. She raised her own hand, mirroring the alien's gesture. "We come in peace," she said, her voice shaky but clear. The alien's eyes seemed to widen. Then, to Samantha's shock, it spoke in perfect English. "Thank the stars," it said, its voice melodious and androgynous. "We feared we were too late." Samantha and David exchanged stunned glances. "Too late?" David asked, his hand instinctively moving towards his weapon. The alien's expression grew grave. "Your world is in danger," it said. "A terrible threat approaches. We came to warn you, and to ask for your help." As the alien began to explain, Samantha felt the weight of the universe settle on her shoulders. She had come seeking knowledge, but found instead a desperate plea for salvation. The fate of not one, but two species now hung in the balance. And so began humanity's greatest challenge, and its greatest adventure. Unlikely alliance, humans and aliens joined forces against a common threat. The alien's words hung in the air, heavy with implications. Samantha's mind raced, trying to process the bombshell that had just been dropped on them. Beside her, Major David Reeves tensed, his military training kicking in as he assessed the potential threat. "I am Zara," the alien continued, its melodious voice echoing in the organic corridors of the ship. "We are the Lumina, and we have traveled across galaxies to find you. Samantha found her voice. You said our world is in danger. What kind of danger? And how do you know our language? Zora's iridescent skin rippled, a sign of what Samantha guessed was distress. We have been monitoring your broadcasts for decades, learning your languages and cultures. As for the danger, Zora paused, its large eyes dimming. They are called the Void, a race of beings that exist between dimensions, consuming entire planets to fuel their existence. David stepped forward, his face a mask of skepticism. And was supposed to just believe you. This could be an invasion tactic. Zora's response was to wave a slender hand. Suddenly, the walls around them came to life, displaying a holographic representation of the galaxy. Samantha gasped as she saw entire star systems blink out of existence, replaced by inky black voids. This is what the void leaves behind, Zora explained. They have already consumed a third of our galaxy. Earth is next. The gravity of the situation hit Samantha like a physical blow. This wasn't just about first contact anymore. This was about the survival of their entire species, of all life in the galaxy. Why us? David asked, his voice gruff but no longer hostile. Why come to Earth for help? Zora's eyes seemed to sparkle. Because, Major Reeves, humanity possesses something unique in the universe, something the Void cannot comprehend or replicate. And what's that? Samantha asked, intrigued. Creativity, Zora replied. The ability to imagine, to innovate, to find solutions where none seem to exist. We Lumina are ancient and advanced, but we have lost the spark of creativity that defines your species. To defeat the Void, we need human ingenuity. Samantha and David exchanged glances, the fate of the galaxy resting on human creativity. It seemed almost too fantastical to believe, and yet the evidence before them was undeniable. We need to report this, David said, reaching for his comm device. Zora's hand shot out, stopping him. Wait, there is more you must know. The Void, they have agents on your planet. Shapeshifters who have infiltrated your governments and institutions. This revelation sent a chill down Samantha's spine. How deep did this go? Who could they trust? That's why we landed here, on your moon, Zora continued. We needed to make contact with humans we could trust, away from the Void's influence. David's face hardened. How convenient. This could still be an elaborate trap. Samantha, however, felt a spark of excitement beneath her fear. Her scientific mind was already racing, considering the possibilities. If what you're saying is true, she said slowly, then we need to act fast. But we can't do this alone. We need to convince our leaders, gather our best minds. Zora nodded, a very human gesture that took Samantha by surprise. Yes, but we must be cautious. The Void's agents are everywhere. We need a plan. And so, in the belly of an alien ship on the surface of the moon, an unlikely alliance was formed. Human scientist, Earth soldier, and extraterrestrial emissary. 3 beings united by the monumental task of saving not just a planet, but an entire galaxy. Over the next few hours, they hatched a daring plan. They would return to Earth, but not to the Pentagon or any official installation. Instead, they would go underground, reaching out to a select network of brilliant minds from around the world, scientists, engineers, artists, and free thinkers who could be vetted and trusted. As they prepared to leave the Lumina ship, Zora presented them with a gift, a small crystalline device that pulsed with an inner light. This contains all of our knowledge about the Void, Zora explained. Their weaknesses, their methods of attack. It also holds the key to technologies that could help in the fight, if your scientists can decipher them. Samantha took the device reverently, feeling the weight of responsibility it represented. We won't let you down, she promised. As they boarded their craft for the return journey to Earth, Samantha felt a mix of emotions she'd never experienced before: fear for the future, excitement at the scientific possibilities, and a deep sense of purpose. She caught David's eye and saw her own determination reflected there. "Ready to save the world, Doc?" he asked with a wry smile. Samantha chuckled, surprised to find humor in such a dire situation. The world, try the whole damn galaxy. As their ship broke away from the moon's surface, Earth growing larger in their viewscreen, Samantha's mind was already racing with plans. They would need to assemble a team, set up a secure base of operations, and begin work on understanding and countering the void threat. But first, they had to navigate a world where anyone could be an enemy. Trust would be their most valuable currency and secrecy their greatest weapon. The real challenge was just beginning. Humanity's greatest test lay ahead, and failure was not an option. The fate of Earth, of all life in the galaxy, now rested on the shoulders of a scientist, a soldier, and the unlikely alliance they had forged among the stars. As they re-entered Earth's atmosphere, Samantha clutched the alien device to her chest. Within it lay the seeds of humanity's salvation or its doom. Only time would tell which would bloom. The craft touched down in a remote area of the Moldau Desert, far from prying eyes. As Samantha and David disembarked, the weight of their mission settled upon them like a physical force. "So," David said, scanning the horizon, "where do we start?" Samantha held up the alien device, its soft glow pulsing in rhythm with her racing heart. "We start by changing the world," she replied, "one brilliant mind at a time." And with that, they set off into the desert, carrying with them the hopes of two civilizations and the key to the galaxy's survival. The greatest adventure in human history had begun, and its outcome would determine the fate of countless worlds among the stars. The Great Escape, a daring plan to save both species. The underground bunker hummed with activity, a hive of human ingenuity hidden beneath the New Mexico desert. 6 months had passed since Samantha and David's lunar encounter, and in that time, they had assembled a team of Earth's brightest minds, all vetted, all committed to the cause. Dr. Arya Khan, a quantum physicist with a flair for the impossible, burst into the main lab, her eyes wild with excitement. "I've cracked it," she exclaimed, waving a tablet. "The Lumina encryption. I've finally broken through." Samantha looked up from the holographic display of the void's last known position, hope surging in her chest. "Show me," she said, gesturing to the main screen. As Arya's findings flashed across the display, the room fell silent. The Lumen device had finally yielded its secrets, revealing schematics for technology beyond human imagination. "Is that?" David began, his voice hushed. "A dimensional barrier," Samantha finished, all coloring her words. "A way to seal off our entire solar system from the void's incursion." The excitement was palpable, but it was short-lived. Alarms blared, red lights bathing the bunker in an ominous glow. "We've been compromised," David barked, already moving towards the weapons cache. "Void agents have found us." Panic threatened to overtake the assembled scientists, but Samantha's voice cut through the chaos. "Everyone, remain calm. Initiate Protocol Omega. We knew this day might come." As the team sprang into action, gathering critical data and equipment, Samantha's mind raced. They had a plan for this contingency, but it was risky, perhaps suicidally so. "David," she called, "it's time. Contact the Lumina." The soldier nodded grimly, activating a device that would send a signal to their alien allies. As he did, the bunker shook with the force of an explosion. "They're breaking through the outer defenses," someone shouted. Samantha made a decision. "Arya, upload everything we've learned to the secure satellite. If we don't make it, Earth still has a fighting chance." As Arya worked furiously at her console, Samantha turned to address the team. "Listen up. We have one shot at this. The Lumina are on their way, but we need to hold out until they arrive. Remember your training. Trust no one you don't recognize. The fate of our world, of our entire galaxy, depends on us." The bunker rocked with another explosion, closer this time. The screech of tearing metal echoed through the corridors. "They're in." David shouted, tossing weapons to those trained to use them. Defensive positions now. What followed was chaos. The void agents poured into the bunker, grotesque, shifting forms that defied description. They moved like living shadows, absorbing energy weapons and regenerating from physical wounds. But humanity wasn't going down without a fight. Brilliant minds turned to the art of war, improvising weapons and tactics on the fly. Dr. Yusuf Abadi, a mild-mannered chemist, unleashed a concoction that briefly solidified the void creatures. Elena Rodriguez, an AI specialist, reprogrammed security drones to target the invaders' weak points. Through it all, Samantha and David fought side by side, their months of preparation paying off as they coordinated the defense. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. It was only a matter of time before they were overwhelmed. Just as hope seemed lost, a blinding light filled the bunker. The air crackled with energy, and suddenly Zara and a contingent of Lumina warriors materialized in the heart of the battle. Quickly, Zara called, her melodious voice carrying over the din of combat. "We must evacuate." The tide turned. The Lumina's advanced weapons carved a path through the void agents, creating a corridor of safety. Samantha orchestrated the evacuation, ensuring every scrap of vital data was secured. As the last of the human team was teleported to safety, Samantha found herself face to face with a void agent. Its form flickered and shifted, settling into a grotesque parody of her own face. "You cannot escape us," it hissed, its voice a cacophony of discordant tones. "We are inevitable. We are eternal." Samantha felt a hand on her shoulder, David, standing firm beside her. "Maybe," she replied, her voice steady. "But so is the human spirit." With that, they were engulfed in light, the bunker and the void agent disappearing in a flash of energy. They rematerialized aboard the Lumina ship, now in high orbit above Earth. As Samantha's eyes adjusted, she saw her team, battered but alive, gazing in wonder at the alien vessel's interior. Zara approached, her iridescent skin pulsing with what Samantha now recognized as concern. "I am sorry we could not come sooner," the alien said. "The void's influence is spreading faster than we anticipated." Samantha nodded, her mind already racing with implications. "We need to move fast. How soon can we implement the dimensional barrier?" "That's complicated," Aria interjected, her face grim. "The calculations are sound, but the energy requirements are astronomical. We need a power source unlike anything Earth has ever seen." A heavy silence fell over the group. They had the solution, but lacked the means to implement it. Earth was still vulnerable, and time was running out. It was David who broke the silence, his soldier's pragmatism cutting to the heart of the matter. "So we find a power source," he said simply. "Whatever it takes." Zara's large eyes seemed to brighten. "Perhaps there is a way," she said hesitantly, "but it would require a great sacrifice." As the alien explained her plan, Samantha felt a mix of hope and dread. It was audacious, perhaps even insane, but it was also their best, their only, chance to save Earth and strike a decisive blow against the void. "We'd be risking everything," Samantha mused, looking around at her team, at the faces of those who had already sacrificed so much for this cause. "With respect, Dr. Chen," Elena spoke up, her voice firm, "everything is already at risk. I say we do it." One by one, the others nodded their agreement. They had come too far, fought too hard, to back down now. Samantha took a deep breath, feeling the weight of galaxies on her shoulders. "All right," she said, her voice ringing with determination. "Let's save the world." As the Lumina ship accelerated away from Earth, its occupants began preparations for the most daring mission in human history. They were leaving their home behind, venturing into the cosmic unknown on a desperate quest for salvation. Samantha gazed out at the receding blue marble of Earth, silently vowing to return. Whatever trials lay ahead, whatever sacrifices were required, she knew one thing with absolute certainty: humanity would prevail, not just for their own sake, but for all life in the galaxy. The stars beckoned, holding both peril and promise, and humanity, in alliance with the Lumina, was answering the call. Battle for two worlds, humanity proves its worth in an intergalactic conflict. The Lumina ship, christened Hope's Horizon by the human crew, streaked through the cosmos at speeds that defied imagination. Their destination, the heart of the Andromeda Galaxy, home to an ancient artifact that could power the dimensional barrier and save Earth. Dr. Samantha Chen stood on the ship's observation deck, her reflection ghostly in the transparent alloy that separated her from the void of space. Stars streaked by in rivers of light, a reminder of the impossible journey they were undertaking. "Penny for your thoughts, Doc." Major David Reeves appeared at her side, his usually stern face softened by a half-smile. Samantha chuckled. "I'm not sure my thoughts are worth that much right now. Just trying to wrap my head around all of this." Before David could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Zora's voice echoed over the comm system. "We have multiple void signatures approaching. Battle stations." The ship rocked violently as the first volley of void weapons struck their shields. Samantha and David raced to the bridge, where the rest of the team was already assembled. Dr. Arya Khan's fingers flew over holographic controls. Shields holding at 80%, but they won't last long against this firepower. Zora, her iridescent skin pulsing with tension, turned to Samantha. "We need a plan. Our weapons are effective, but the void ships outnumber us 5-1. Samantha's mind raced. This was why the Lumina had sought out humanity, for their ability to innovate, to find solutions where none seemed to exist. She glanced at the redouts, at the swirling chaos of the battle outside, and suddenly an idea sparked. "The quantum entanglement drive," she breathed. "Arya, can we reconfigure it to create localized pockets of spacetine distortion?" Arya's eyes widened as she caught on. "Micro black holes. Yes, but we'd be flying blind. One miscalculation and we could tear ourselves apart." "Do it," David said firmly. "Better to go out fighting than let the void take us." Zara nodded her agreement, and the team sprang into action. As void ships closed in around them, Hope's Horizon began to pulse with energy. Suddenly, space itself seemed to warp and twist around them. 3 void ships were caught in the distortions, crushed out of existence in the blink of an eye. The rest fell back, clearly unprepared for this new tactic. "It's working." Elena Rodriguez, the AI specialist, shouted in triumph. "Their formation is breaking." But their victory was short-lived. A massive void dreadnought emerged from the chaos, its very presence seeming to drain the light from nearby stars. "Evasive maneuvers." David barked, but it was too late. A beam of pure darkness lanced out from the dreadnought, slicing through their shields like they weren't there. Alarms screamed as systems failed across the ship. "Hull breach in sections 3-7, Zara reported, her melodious voice strained. "We're losing power to the quantum drive." Samantha felt despair threatening to overwhelm her. They had come so far, only to fail at the final hurdle. Earth, the Lumina homeworld, countless innocent lives across the galaxy, all would fall to the void. But then something extraordinary happened. As if sensing her despair, the alien device they had brought from Earth began to pulse with an inner light. Symbols and equations swirled across its surface, faster than the eye could follow. "The device," Samantha gasped. "It's evolving, adapting to the threat." Understanding dawned on Zora's alien features. Of course, the combination of Lumina technology and human creativity, it's created something entirely new. With trembling hands, Samantha interfaced the device with the ship's systems. Immediately, energy surged through Hope's Horizon. Breaches sealed themselves, weapons came back online, more powerful than ever. "What's happening?" David demanded, watching in awe as the ship seemed to rebuild itself around them. "We've unlocked the device's true potential," Samantha explained, her voice filled with wonder. "It's not just a database, It's a bridge between our two species' technologies, greater than the sum of its parts. Armed with this new power, Hope's Horizon struck back against the Void Fleet. Weapons of pure light lanced out, banishing the darkness. Shields of iridescent energy flickered into existence, impenetrable to Void attacks. The tide of battle turned. One by one, Void ships winked out of existence, unable to stand against this fusion of human ingenuity and Lumina technology. Even the massive dreadnought, for all its terrifying power, found itself outmatched. As the last Void ship disappeared in a flash of light, a cheer went up from the bridge. Human and Lumina alike embraced, overcome with joy and relief. But Samantha knew their mission was far from over. "We need to keep moving," she said, her voice cutting through the celebration. "The artifact is still out there, and Earth is still in danger." Zara nodded sullenly. "You are right, Dr. Chen. But thanks to you, to all of you, we now have a real chance of success." As Hope's Horizon resumed its journey, now stronger than ever, Samantha felt a surge of pride. Humanity had been tested in the fires of intergalactic conflict and had not been found wanting. They had proven their worth, not just to the Lumina, but to the galaxy itself. The artifact lay ahead, holding the key to Earth's salvation. And beyond that, a confrontation with the heart of the Void itself. But for the first time since this impossible journey began, Samantha allowed herself to feel real hope. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, human and Lumina, two species united in their determination to save not just their own worlds, but all of creation. As stars streaked by outside, Samantha Chen, once a lone scientist gazing at the night sky, now stood at the forefront of humanity's greatest adventure. The battle for two worlds had been won, but the war for the fate of the galaxy was just beginning. And humanity was ready to fight. A new era begins, the aftermath and the promise of a shared future. The swirling vortex of the dimensional barrier shimmered around Earth, a testament to the incredible journey that had brought humanity to this moment. Dr. Samantha Chen stood on the observation deck of the Lumina mothership, her eyes fixed on the blue marble she called home. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Major David Reeves nodded beside her, his usually stoic demeanor softened by the magnitude of their accomplishment. "Hard to believe it's finally over." But even as the words left his mouth, alarms blared throughout the ship. Zara's voice, urgent and melodious, echoed through the corridors. "All hands to battle stations. We have a Void incursion." Samantha and David exchanged a look of disbelief before racing to the bridge. The scene that greeted them was one of controlled chaos. Holographic displays showed a massive tear in the fabric of space-time just beyond the barrier's edge. "Impossible," Dr. Arya Khan muttered, her fingers flying over the controls. The artifact's power should have sealed off this entire sector. As they watched, a colossal shape began to emerge from the rift. It defied description, a writhing mass of darkness that seemed to devour light itself. The Void Overseer, the entity that commanded the very forces they had been fighting, had come to challenge them directly. "It's trying to collapse the barrier," Elena Rodriguez shouted, her AI interfaces flashing warning signals. Zara turned to Samantha, her large eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "Dr. Chen, we need a solution. The fate of both our worlds hangs in the balance." Samantha felt the weight of galaxies on her shoulders. They had come so far, sacrificed so much. She refused to let it end here. Her mind raced, piecing together everything they had learned about the Void, about the artifact, about the fusion of human and Lumina technology. Suddenly, it clicked. "The barrier," she breathed. "It's not just a shield, it's a lens." Understanding dawned on Arya's face. "Of course, if we can reconfigure the barrier's energy matrix, we can focus the combined power of Earth and the Lumina homeworld," Samantha finished. "Create a feedback loop that will collapse the rift and banish the Overseer." David stepped forward, his tactical mind already formulating a plan. "We'll need to get closer, dangerously close. Zara nodded sullenly. I will pilot the ship myself. The rest of you, prepare for the most difficult calculations of your lives. What followed was a symphony of human and alien minds working in perfect harmony. As the Void Overseer lashed out with tendrils of pure entropy, threatening to unravel reality itself, the team raced against time. Samantha's fingers flew over holographic interfaces, merging mathematical concepts from two vastly different civilizations. Aria and Elena worked in tandem, their minds melding with the ship's air to process calculations faster than any organic brain could manage. David coordinated with the Lumina defense fleet, creating a perimeter to buy them precious seconds. And through it all, Zara piloted the ship with inhuman precision, dancing on the edge of oblivion. Now, Samantha shouted as the final piece fell into place. The dimensional barrier pulsed, its iridescent surface rippling like a living thing. Suddenly, it inverted, focusing the combined energy of two worlds into a lance of pure creation. The beam struck the Void Overseer, and for a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. The Overseer writhed, its unfathomable form twisting in ways that hurt the mind to perceive. And then, with a silent scream that echoed across dimensions, it collapsed in on itself. The rift sealed, reality snapping back into place like a rubber band. Silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the soft beeping of consoles. Then, slowly, a cheer began to build. It started with Elena, spread to Aria, then David, until even the stoic Lumina were caught up in the wave of jubilation. They had done it. Against all odds, facing an enemy that threatened the very fabric of existence, humanity and the Lumina had prevailed. As the celebration raged around her, Samantha found herself drawn back to the observation deck. Earth spun below, peaceful and unaware of how close it had come to annihilation. And beyond it, the stars beckoned with new promise. She felt a presence beside her and turned to see Zara, the alien's iridescent skin pulsing with what Samantha now recognized as joy. What happens now? Samantha asked softly. Zara's large eyes seemed to twinkle. Now, Dr. Chen, we begin the greatest adventure of all. Our peoples, once separated by the vast gulfs of space, will forge a new future together. The knowledge we've gained, the bonds we've formed, they will be the foundation of a galactic civilization unlike any the universe has ever seen. As if to punctuate Zara's words, a shimmering portal opened nearby. Through it, Samantha could see the Lumina homeworld, a place of crystal spires and impossible beauty, a bridge between worlds made possible by the very technology they had used to save them. The first of many, Zara explained, open borders between Earth and Lumina Prime, the beginning of a new age of exploration and discovery. Samantha felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to see David, Aria, and Elena joining them. Her team, her friends, fellow pioneers on this incredible journey. So, David said with a wry smile, ready to make some more history, Doc. Samantha laughed, a sound of pure joy and limitless possibility. She looked out at the star-strewn tapestry of space, no longer a barrier, but a highway to unimaginable wonders. Always, she replied, as Earth rotated slowly below them, as the portal to a new world shimmered with promise. Samantha Chen realized that this wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. The dawn of a new era for humanity, for the Lumina, for all sentient life in the galaxy. The void had been banished, but the real adventure was just beginning. And Samantha, along with her unlikely family of humans and aliens, would be at the forefront, leading the charge into a future brighter than any star. The universe, with all its infinite possibilities, awaited, and humanity, having proven its worth in the crucible of cosmic conflict, was ready to take its place among the stars. This was their legacy. This was their destiny. This was the start of something truly extraordinary. And as Hope's Horizon prepared to embark on its next journey, Samantha Chen smiled, knowing that the greatest chapters of their story were yet to be written. The end, and a new beginning.